Welcome to Sheikh Hamdan's official channel, the sacred space where love finds its voice, where poetry becomes a kingdom, and today, where truth finally wears its crown. The world knows now, she is my queen. No more veils. No more shadows. No more silence. After years of quiet admiration and poems spoken like riddles, His Highness Sheikh Hamdan has opened the gates of his heart to the world and declared the one woman who has ruled it all along. This moment is not just a public revelation, it's the sealing of destiny. Sheikh Hamdan, Dubai's beloved prince and soul poet, has made a bold declaration that has sent waves of awe across the globe. Through the art of his timeless verses, he has long written about a love that could not be confined to the pages of a diary. And now, that love has a name, a face, and a title, his queen. A queen not by birthright, but by heart right. A queen who walked into his world and made it feel like home. The poem that shook hearts around the world begins gently but with fire beneath its calm. She is not a fantasy in my dreams anymore, she is the reason I wake with purpose. That one line changed everything. The mystery that once surrounded her is no longer a secret, it's a celebration. And the people of Dubai, the followers of Fazza, and the lovers of true romance have all bowed to this moment in sheer reverence. Footage released alongside the poem shows Sheikh Hamdan walking beside her in the desert. She's wrapped in elegance, a silhouette of grace against golden dunes. Her smile is soft, steady, and sure, like someone who knows her worth but never needed to shout it. He looks at her not like a man showing the world his prize, but like a king who has finally been reunited with the half of his soul. Every step they take echoes with the sound of dreams coming true. Sheikh Hamdan has never been one to speak recklessly. Every word, every verse, every post has meaning sewn into its fabric. And so when he says, "The world knows now, she is my queen," it is not a caption, it is a vow. A royal truth. He isn't seeking approval. He isn't trying to impress. He is simply honoring a woman who gave him reason to believe in love when even kingdoms couldn't fill the emptiness within. For years, we wondered who she was. The muse behind the metaphors, the mystery in his verses, the girl he once described as the calm between my storms. And now we know. She is not just a name in a poem. She is not just a reflection of his imagination. She is real. She is here. And she is his. The way he looks at her tells stories no poet could ever quite capture. Because love like theirs cannot be written, it must be lived. As they stand together beneath the palace arches, sunlight dancing around them like blessings from the heavens, it becomes clear that this is not just a romantic union, it is a spiritual one. Two souls who were once separated by titles, traditions, or timing, are now aligned by something more powerful than any crown: truth. And the truth is this: she was always his queen. Even when the world didn't know her name, his heart. Sheikh Hamdan's poem continues, "She didn't ask for a kingdom, she built one inside me." It's a line that strikes deep, because this woman didn't need gold, status, or glory. She only needed his love. And in return, she gave him everything. The strength to be vulnerable. The courage to be honest. The grace to let the world in. She loved him in private. And now, he honors her in public. The most sacred love there is. The response across the globe has been nothing short of breathtaking. From royal watchers to poetry lovers, from Dubai citizens to hidden hearts that still believe in fairy tales, everyone has felt something stir within them. This moment, this confession, this crowning, has reminded the world that true love does not hide forever. Sooner or later, it steps forward, fearless and proud. Sheikh Hamdan's voice cracks with reverence in the final lines of his poem. She wore no jewels, yet her heart shone brighter than any throne I will ever sit on. And now the world knows, she is not beside me, she is above me. These are not just words, they are legacy. A legacy that will echo through time, through hearts, through every corner of the earth that dares to believe in love that cannot be silenced. The video ends with the two of them walking hand in hand into the sunset. No palace gates. No flashing lights. Just a man and a woman who found each other, chose each other, and finally shared that truth with the world. It is not the end of their story, it is the most powerful beginning. The world knows now. She is his queen. And for every soul who followed his poems like breadcrumbs through mystery, today is the reward. The veil is lifted. The poem is complete. The queen has stepped into the light. And Sheikh Hamdan, our poet, our prince, stands beside her, exactly where he was always meant to be. The world continues to buzz with the news, yet amidst all the noise, Sheikh Hamdan remains calm, grounded in the truth he has finally allowed to bloom in the open. There is something sacred in the way he holds her hand, not just as a husband, not just as a prince, but as a man who understands that real love demands courage. For years, he guarded this part of his heart with poetic armor. But now, the gates are open. And through them, we see the full light of his devotion. She walks beside him with grace that silences every doubter. She needs no crown to prove she's a queen. Her presence alone commands the kind of respect only earned through love, not lineage. People watch them and realize this is more than romance, it is destiny fulfilled. Fazza's poems once carried her in metaphors and hidden meaning. But now, she is not a metaphor. She is the heartbeat of the poem itself. The one he waited for, fought for, and finally stood for. In a world where appearances can mask emptiness, their love is a beacon of something real. His words in the newest poem resound like thunder wrapped in silk. She healed me in silence, and the world heard my laughter again. How could I not call her my queen? These lines pierce through the noise of fame and reach directly into the soul. Love like this doesn't need validation, but it deserves recognition. And Fazza has given her both. Sheikh Hamdan's fans have seen him conquer heights, cross oceans, win hearts through his adventures and leadership. But nothing has made the world pause like this moment of honest affection. It is not every day that a man of his stature bows his soul in poetry for one woman. Yet, here he is, unashamed, unfiltered, and unbelievably in love. This is not just about revealing a partner. It's about celebrating the woman who held his heart when the world only saw his smile. Old verses now take on new meaning. Lines once cloaked in mystery are now being traced back to her. You were my compass when I was lost beneath the stars, he once wrote, and now, with her standing beside him, that compass has clearly led him home. Every poem was a map to this moment. And now that the world sees her, they understand, this love was never hidden. It was just too sacred to be shown until the time was right. Sheikh Hamdan's recent appearance at an official event with her by his side made headlines around the globe. Yet what struck people most wasn't the elegance of their attire or the royal glamour, it was the subtle gestures. His protective glance. Her respectful smile. The invisible thread that tied them together even in the quietest seconds. This is what love looks like when it has survived distance, duty, and the weight of royal expectation. In another verse, he declares, she didn't wear a title, but the stars bowed when she walked in. That's the essence of their bond. She was not chosen for the world, she was chosen for his soul. And now that the world sees her, it too begins to understand what he always saw. There's no competition. No comparison. She is not trying to fit into a crown, she is the crown that rests on his heart. The royal court has never looked brighter. Not because of jewels or architecture, but because of the energy this love brings. Dubai, already a land of dreams, now has a living example of one coming true. Behind the palace walls, there is laughter again. Not the rehearsed kind, but the kind that comes from knowing someone truly sees you, not as a title or a role, but as a person. She sees him. And he honors her for it in every word he writes. This union is now etched into the legacy of Sheikh Hamdan. His story will not be told by victories alone but by this moment of powerful vulnerability. To love openly, to speak truthfully, to uplift the woman who changed his world, that is the poetry he will be remembered for. And generations will look back on this day and say, that was when the poet made the world believe in love again. As they stood under the archway of the palace, with rose petals falling like blessings and every eye watching in still reverence, he leaned close and whispered something only she could hear. No camera caught it. No audience needed to. Because the deepest love is always shared in the spaces between words. But from the way she smiled afterward, we all knew, it was a promise kept. The world knows now. She is not a mystery, not a rumor, not a distant muse. She is the woman he would write 1,000 lifetimes of poems for. the one who brought color back to his skies and peace back to his crown. She is his queen, not because of where she stands, but because of how she stood by him when no one else knew. And now that the truth is out, it feels like the final verse has finally been sung. So this is not the end. It is a beginning sealed with truth, crowned with devotion, and written in stars. The world knows now, she is his queen. And from this moment forward, every poem will carry her name, whether written or unspoken, because true love, once found, never hides again. As the sun dipped behind the golden dunes of Dubai, painting the sky in shades of fire and rose, their silhouettes stood tall against the fading light, him in his traditional royal attire, her in soft elegance that mirrored the calm strength within her. The world now sees what he had always known, that her presence was not just beside him, but within him. Every time he had spoken of longing, every time he penned verses about waiting, and every time he stared at the moon in silence, it had always been her. And now, with the world as witness, he no longer hides behind metaphors. His queen stands visible to all, yet remains the sacred poetry that only his soul can truly read. In his newest poem, shared just after the grand reveal, he writes, "I once feared losing her to silence, but today, I hand her my voice before the world." It is a confession wrapped in royalty, a message to every heart still chasing a love that feels too big for this world. Their love is no longer a secret treasure, it is a beacon. She, who once inspired his quietest stanzas, now walks by his side as the woman who gave those stanzas meaning. And as they move through their days together, from royal duties to private moments under starlit skies, she continues to bring out the poet in him. Not because of what she says or does, but because of who she is. A queen by spirit. A queen by love. This chapter in Fazza's life is not about display. It is about declaration. It is about showing the world that even amidst power, fame, and expectation, love can remain pure, intentional, and eternal. As people around the globe continue to share the video, quote his words, and marvel at the story unfolding before them, one truth becomes undeniable. This is not just a love story, it's a legacy. One that will echo through his poems for generations to come. And now, with her beside him, every verse he writes, every breath he takes, and every step he makes forward will be touched by the light of the one truth he's no longer afraid to say, "She is my queen."